on his way. Devil is on his way. Devil is on his way, motherfucker. The devil gonna make you pay. Fall to your knees. Devil is on his way. Fall to your knees. Devil gonna make you pay. Fall to your knees. Devil is on his way. Motherfucker, he's on his way.
Mountain Murders is an Appalachian true crime podcast with cases spanning the 14-state Appalachian region. Mountain Murders includes graphic content and explicit language not suitable for young listeners. Listener discretion is advised. Enjoying your social distancing over there where you are less than 6 feet away from me?
Oh my God. Well, we need a bigger table. That's what that's all about.
We need a bigger house.
Yeah.
Where
true.
you can be like on one floor and I'll be on the other.
I think that would work
and
better.
I could social distance myself away from you entirely?
Yes. And body and mind out of sight, right?
Yeah. Okay. I would like to social distance myself away from all of you people.
Yeah.
And by you people, I mean you and our kids.
Yeah, that's what happens when you have a pandemic going on, right?
Fuck this pandemic.
I know. Well, at least there's some interesting true crime stories right now.
Well, there's a lot of information out there about this COVID-19. It's scary. Today, I read that basically the death toll had doubled. It's like in the 2,000 mark.
Yeah, it's we're on track to surpass all other countries with confirmed cases and possibly deaths.
Well, part of that, and I'm going to get on a little soapbox here. Will you help me give me a boost up? Because I'm not tall enough to get up on it by myself.
I will climb up there, honey. I got you.
Why the fuck are people not staying in place?
See, this is the thing.
People are not taking this seriously at all.
There's still huge groups of people. They're just like, oh, well, it's not a big deal.
It's like the flu or chicken pox. If I catch it, then I'll be immune to it.
Well, it's just, most people get over it. I keep hearing people saying, but there seems to be a lot more people dying of this. This doesn't seem normal, people. This don't seem like the freaking flu to me, right?
This does not seem like the fucking time to get in your car and go on a fucking vacation. We live in Western North Carolina. If you listen to the show, you know we're here in the mountains. A lot of people have second homes here. We have a lot of part-timers, snowbirds.
Yeah.
Well, the few confirmed cases, we have 0 confirmed cases in our county. We are very fortunate at the moment that we know of.
But we still assume everyone has it.
But
that's what you have to do.
The few cases that have popped up in the neighboring counties have been brought here by second homers. People who have come to town from New York and Florida and then test positive.
Yes, and then so the one instance was someone from New York in Buncombe County.
Which is where Asheville is located.
Right. And so they tested positive, had it confirmed you have the virus. So then they get in their damn car and travel like 2 counties over to another town, Franklin. I mean...
Which is, about a 2-hour drive.
Who does that? And probably just like, and probably stopping at stores. I mean, who knows? I mean, why? I just don't get the mindset of these people.
I don't understand either. And social media, I've got to stop reading news threads and local groups because it's just infuriating. I am part of a group that is like a Maggie Valley, North Carolina group.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of local people, but there's also tourists and people who just love the area that appreciate the mountains, right? Locals have been posting things like, it's not a good time to come here. This is not a vacation. Like, don't come here to your second home. Stay in place. We're all trying to protect ourselves. We need to be insulated.
Right.
You guys are rude.
Yeah, I used to like the mountains, but this is making me feel like I don't.
Yeah, and people like local business owners are getting emails from people who are like, I'm never spending my money in your town again after the way y'all have acted with this virus.
Like I'm supposed
to. And I want to be like, bitch, just because you too cheap to go to fucking Gatlinburg and you vacation here, fuck you. Sorry.
Well, see, here's the thing, though.
It's making me very angry, Dylan.
It is, and it's not like a local versus them kind of mentality even. So if these people, no matter where they're from, and we're not singling out certain areas of the country, it's just stay where the fuck you are. It don't matter if you're in the middle of nowhere. It don't matter if you're in a bigger urban area. Stay in the damn apartment. Try your damnedest to stay away from people and do basic hygiene, and you can be okay. But just going around willy-nilly touching every damn thing and acting like it's no big deal is putting you and your loved ones at risk. So if these people are at their home, wherever they live, and a bunch of us from this area had homes all around them, and you're hearing...
Well, it'd just be like if we all decided we were going to go to the beach and chill.
Well, yeah, so you're hearing all this shit on TV about how things are, going out of control. Whole segments of the world are shutting down. I've never seen anything like it in my life.
Never. This is history being made right now. Yeah.
And so they're seeing this, and all of a sudden they look out and they're seeing that people they know are from other regions coming to their second home all around them, and not even like holing up in the house, self-quarantining was what they tell you to do, but you're out running around, running it through their yard. I mean, they wouldn't appreciate it, is my point. They wouldn't appreciate it, and they'd feel the same damn way.
It's very much a sense of entitlement.
We know what type of people it is.
Oh, we know what type of people these are.
It's them people.
It's those, yeah.
Right. It's people who's got a second home. And not all people who have a second home act like that. Right? We're not saying that. But in this area, a lot of them do. And then when you're like, just stay home, be safe, take care of your family, well, you should be lucky you even come up here. So you can have a job, a nice retail job.
Well, if you guys didn't have us tourists, you'd all be in unemployment line. And I've seen those comments too. And I just want to be like, do you even know that tourism has only really driven our economy here for maybe the last 15 years? We were once a bustling manufacturing community.
Yes, we were.
With some major manufacturers who offered high-paying jobs and good benefits. Also, mountain people have survived for hundreds of years, literally like 200-300 years here in the mountains without your money. So I don't think that you not coming here and spending your money is going to really affect me. You don't work in tourism. I don't work in tourism. None of my family works in tourism. I mean, I just want to be like, who do you think you really think you're threatening me?
Well, here's the thing. This area and a lot of areas like it around the country have been ignored for decades. The infrastructure is lagging very, very far behind. Roads, internet. There's people not 20 miles from us that can't get a decent, solid internet connection in their home. So you think, well, they can't stream Netflix. What's the big deal? They can't work from home. They can't do any, college
online
classes.
Colleges, yeah.
Their children can't do. Our girls come back from school in the 7th grade with stuff they have to go online and do that evening for homework. So these are affecting people in real ways. And then you come bebopping in here, and like you said, there was plenty of manufacturing solid jobs. And if they weren't trying to draw you here for your second home, they would be bringing more manufacturing jobs or decent jobs in. But instead,
are we boring our audience with all of this? I'm sorry. We've been stuck in the house, and this is what coronavirus does to people.
We're sorry, guys.
Yeah, we get on a tirade, but yeah, I just am not appreciating seeing all the out-of-state tags and people who just seem to be like completely ignoring the advice of experts just because they have feelings that they don't have to abide by the suggestions or something. I don't know. It's really frustrating.
Just stay home. Watch out for you and your family. That's all you can do.
Enough bitching. If you haven't already shut the podcast off or skipped through to this part, we've got a great case today.
This is definitely a different one from anything else we've done.
Are you ready, Dylan?
I'm ready to dig up in it.
Our case today takes us into uncharted territory, as you mentioned. We've not discussed a hate crime on any of our previous episodes, so today is going to be our first.
Yes, this is a very interesting case, but it really didn't have to happen. I mean, it's really sad.
The murder of Private First Class Barry Winchell is a heart-wrenching and senseless murder. In my personal experience as a veteran, when you raise your right hand and swear to protect the Constitution of the United States, you expect a certain camaraderie. Your shipmates, fellow soldiers, Marines, airmen, these are people that you look at like they're in your foxhole, so to speak. These are the people who've got your six. You're literally counting on these people to save your life.
Yes, I bet you count on them every single day, no matter what you're doing.
That's what makes this story so disturbing for me. Barry Winchell's story made our nation re-examine our stance on an important issue. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy, it was implemented by the Clinton administration in 1994. Before Don't Ask, Don't Tell, homosexuals were restricted from military service. This policy shifted a bit to allow homosexuals to serve as long as they didn't admit it to anyone, and others were not allowed to ask you about your sexual preference. Homosexuals became the military's dirty little secret.
Yeah, so I guess we're led to believe before that there were no homosexuals serving because they weren't allowed to, which we know is bullshit.
Right. And if people believe that there were no homosexuals serving before 1994, I mean, that is a sore misconception. Many LGBTQ advocates saw this policy as doing very little to protect those who were gay in the military, and that, if anything, it just created more problems within the ranks.
I would agree with that. I would definitely agree with that because, and just in our society in general back then, for the nation to consider this an upgrade or like a forward-thinking policy just blows my mind. And this was just in 94.
Well, what the military would call, like in this situation, green-on-green violence, I mean, it's a troubling thing, but when you partner that with a hate crime, it just seems to make it even worse.
It just seems like if you were having discussions about people's sexuality and who they really were with everyone, not just including the people who may be homosexual, maybe they wouldn't be afraid to speak up if they're being bullied. Or maybe, because I think a lot of times, I personally forget, these are kids. These are 18 to 22-year-old, the rank and file, the bulk of the military. They're just 18 to 22, 3-year-olds. They're just kids, you know? And a lot of them, like you pointed out, come from rural, small towns, communities where maybe things were a certain way all their life. And then all of a sudden they're in the military, all these different races, which is a good, you know.
I mean, it's a really big change for a lot of people. If you come from a rural background and you've grown up in a small town and you've not had exposure, there's a lot of diversity. I mean, the military can be an awesome thing for people.
Well,
because you open up your world to so many new experiences that you've never had and probably won't ever have again.
Right, I'm sure, and that's the good part of it.
But that can also be a problem for some.
Well, yeah, in a climate like that, where it's, I mean, just the title alone is absurd, and it just proves that the mindset behind the whole policy is totally ridiculous.
Barry Lauren Winchell was born August 31st, 1977 in Kansas City, Missouri. In his early years, life was rocky. His parents divorced when Barry was very young, and he lived with his mother and 2 brothers. When he was around 3, the family was homeless, and they were actually living in his mother Pat's car outside of a Waffle House in Texas where she worked.
Well, that's just a devastating situation for anyone, especially kids, to be in.
During this time, his mother said he was lonely and things were not stable, as they should be. Barry developed some imaginary friends to keep him company. I think a lot of kids do that.
Yeah, I'd say everyone that goes through has that to some degree, some more than others.
Barry would later be diagnosed with ADD and dyslexia, which would earn him a label of learning disabled when he finally went to school. He struggled academically. I mean, he couldn't read until the 3rd grade.
Well, that's a pretty tough combination. You can't concentrate, have a tough time focusing on top of dyslexia, which really is a roadblock, especially to reading.
He dropped out of high school, but enrolled in a technical program where he learned to weld, and he did get his GED. Those who knew Barry said he was gentle, soft-spoken, and almost had kind of a shyness about him.
Yeah, he seemed like a pretty good kid, pretty sweet guy.
The Army recruiter actually came to him. It wasn't like Barry just decided he was going to join the Army. This recruiter happened to pop by their house. Barry's there. He's got long hair. He's a bit of a rocker. He's playing in bands, loves loud rock music. He's not the stereotypical soldier boy, like what you would see as like the poster child for like the Army.
So, wow. So the recruiter's like literally going door to door through this neighborhood, or maybe had some kind of contact with him?
Possibly. I mean, I think, and especially back in the day when we didn't have that, like the internet access.
Right.
And the reach that we do. I mean, recruiters would come to your high school.
Oh, yeah.
They would get a list of students' names. They would just randomly call your house, show up at your house. I mean, this was just kind of